So I've been training service dogs for about 8 years now, and each one is different. And I try to tailor the program to each veteran because PTSD doesn't look the same in everyone. So it's actually really cool when a veteran meets their dog for the first time. We let the dogs pick the people first off, so that bond is pretty strong between the two of them. But within 5 minutes, like I had a veteran, she was wearing probably 3 sweaters and a face mask, and all of her hoods were up. I mean, you could literally only see her eyes. And she met her dog, and within 5 minutes, she was taking all the layers off. And by the end of the 30 minutes, she was playing with this puppy. It fell asleep in her lap, and her shoulders were back. She was smiling. She took all of her sweaters off. You could see her face. I mean, it's almost an immediate reaction when they get their dogs. It's really cool.
I'm a disabled Marine Corps Lance Corporal. Went in as a musician, but my body broke first. So I was in for a while, but not as long as I wanted to be. When I was home awaiting orders, a very dear friend of mine was a Navy veteran. She was retired. She'd been in the Navy for 20 or 22 years, but she lost all hope and she committed suicide. We lose 22 a day. That's horrible. We shouldn't be losing. Not when there's people available, when there's dogs available, when there's love ready to hand. Because a dog is so affectionate, so loving, and makes such a difference.
My dad was a Marine, so I had to keep it in the family. But also the Marines are the best. I served as a military police officer, and eventually I got selected for a special duty assignment, and I worked at the White House doing security for President Bush Jr. I was one of 3 people selected out of 600, and I was one of 6 women in my unit. So I became a chef for a little while. I did that. I went to San Francisco for culinary school. And while I was working in the restaurants, especially here, I realized that I wasn't doing what I needed to do. I wasn't helping veterans, and the veteran suicide rate was just climbing. So I had already trained several dogs for myself. As emotional support animals, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress while I was in the Marine Corps. And so I trained emotional support animals for myself to use at home, and then eventually got to the point where I needed a service dog because my PTSD was just getting worse. So I trained my first service dog, and from there it's just been, everybody wants a service dog, so why not?
In my case, he knows if I'm having vertigo, tries to prevent me from falling. If I have fallen, he stands guard over me. And then as I try to get up, he tries to figure out how to help me get up. There was a time 3 years ago, if you asked me to go to Bass Pro, I wouldn't go at all. It's too busy. There's too much activity, too much sound. For me, I can now walk in with his help, but I have to come a little earlier than I'm supposed to meet someone to get him calm. But now I can do that.
In the next 8 years, I really hope to see more veterans that are able to reach out and ask for the help that they need, and for that help to be service dogs.